How would every One Piece character react if Luffy married Boa Hancock? Sanji, for example, would literally lose his mind. Yeah, first he's gonna be raging at Luffy for somehow getting the literal pirate empress. Then, the moment he sees Hancock in her wedding dress, he's literally gonna die. No, but seriously, he's gonna lose so much blood that he's nearly going to die, because Sanji will think she's the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. Then, after he recovers, he's gonna start crying about how unfair his life is, and he's gonna get so jealous that he's literally gonna scream, "Why not me?" But then it hits him. He can now go to Amazon Lily whenever he wants, as he's part of the Straw Hats. Yeah, Sanji's gonna cry out of pure happiness, thank Luffy for being the best captain ever, and probably stay on Amazon Lily for the rest of his life, being surrounded by these beautiful women. Alright, let's move on from Sanji and talk about Nami. Now, some of you probably think she's gonna get a bit jealous or mad if Luffy married someone other than her, right? I mean, I know a lot of you guys ship these two as a couple, but nope, she's actually gonna get super happy. Why? Simple. Hancock is rich, strong, and most importantly, she's basically royalty. Nami's instantly gonna draw up a marriage contract that gives the Straw Hat half of all of Amazon Lily's treasure and gold. Although, yeah, she's definitely gonna stash it all for herself. Not only that though, but Nami wants to see Luffy happy, as she cares about him a lot, even though it definitely doesn't always look that way. Anyway, if marrying Hancock makes Luffy happy, then Nami's happy for him. So yeah, Nami clearly approves of this marriage. Another Straw Hat we gotta talk about is Luffy's right-hand man, Zoro. And honestly, he just wouldn't care. I mean, sure, Zoro's obviously happy for his captain. He always wants Luffy to be happy and he'll support him no matter what. Although, I really can't see Hancock and Zoro as best friends. Anyway, although Zoro really doesn't care if Luffy wants to get married or not, he would be super happy. Why? Because there will be so much sake during the wedding. Yeah, Zoro's literally just gonna be drinking all night, having the time of his life, and thank Luffy for the best night ever. Okay, these guys have been super happy for Luffy's sake, or well, their own, but someone who wouldn't be happy for Luffy is Akainu. He absolutely hates Luffy, as he sees Luffy as this chaotic pirate who's a threat to the justice in the world, although Akainu's justice is, well, questionable. Anyway, if Akainu heard about Luffy's wedding, he'd be disgusted. Two pirates marrying is the worst thing ever to him, so he'd absolutely do everything to crash this wedding, as love won't save Luffy from getting turned into a donut. But let's be real, Luffy won't let that happen. Next up, let's talk about Luffy's grandpa, Monkey D. Garp. You'd think Garp would be super happy for Luffy, right? I mean, Garp loves Luffy more than anything in the world, and he just wants him to be safe and happy. But nope, Garp's gonna be raging. Yeah, Garp absolutely hates pirates, so Luffy marrying one will drive him crazy. He's just straight up gonna go and smack him in the head, then try to convince him into marrying a nice marine girl instead. But at the end of the day, once he sees how happy Luffy is with Hancock, Garp will accept it, even if he's gonna be grumbling the whole time. Speaking of Garp, we gotta talk about another marine, Koby. When Koby sees that Luffy's gonna marry Hancock, he's literally gonna cry tears of joy. He's gonna be so happy for Luffy as he sees him as one of his best friends and someone who deserves to be happy. But yeah, he would also kinda lose it, because now he'd have to chase down both Luffy and Hancock together, as the world government would be freaking out over two powerhouses being together. And don't forget that Koby still remembers how insanely strong Hancock is, as she nearly kicked him in the face. Going back to the Straw Hats, let's talk about Usopp. At first, Usopp would be crazy jealous, as he obviously wants Hancock to marry the true captain of the Straw Hats. But jokes aside, Usopp would be amazed that Luffy managed to land such a ridiculous woman. So sure, he would be jealous, but he would also be truly happy for Luffy, as Usopp wants to see his captain happy. But someone who would be even happier for Luffy's sake is Bartolomeo. Yeah, Barto is a Luffy superfan, and he literally worships Luffy like a god. He's basically his hero, and he literally started a pirate crew that's a Luffy fan club. Yeah, he's just that obsessed with him. So if Luffy got married, Barto would be super happy, and he'd think it's only right that Luffy marries the most beautiful woman in the world. So Barto would literally make posters about their wedding and place them everywhere on the entire planet. Yeah, he'll literally make it a national holiday. Moving on, let's talk about Jinbe. Jinbe would also be so happy for his captain, as he supports him no matter what, and he'll always stand by Luffy's side. Although, he does think Hancock is terrifying. Yup, Remember when Jinbe ate some of the food she made for Luffy at Amazon Lily? Yeah, Hancock lost it, as this was all just for Luffy. So Jinbe will obviously be happy for him, but he's also going to be a bit scared, as Hancock can be very bossy and scary. Another Straw Hat we've got is Nico Robin. Just like almost everyone else, Robin would be so happy for him. I mean, Robin sees Luffy as her family. He literally gave her a reason to live, and he became the kind of friend she always dreamed of having. So now Robin will support him in whatever he does. She's always going to be by his side, giving him her full support. Talking about Robin, let's move on to the Revolutionary Army and talk about Luffy's brother Sabo. Now, Sabo would definitely be a little confused about Luffy marrying Hancock, but at the same time, he's going to be super happy for his little brother. He'd be so proud of him thinking his reckless little brother had finally grown up. Well, at least a little bit. Anyway, I know Sabo would want Ace to see Luffy get married. So he's going to bring his iconic hat from his grave to the wedding so Ace could be there in spirit. Staying with the Revolutionary Army, we've got Luffy's father, Monkey D. Dragon. And yeah, Dragon's happy that Luffy isn't marrying a celestial dragon. Other than that, he just doesn't care. Okay, jokes aside, although Dragon probably wouldn't show up to the wedding, he would be incredibly proud of his son for living free and doing exactly what he wants, because Dragon does actually care about him. Next up, Shanks. This guy would literally just laugh. Yeah, he'll think it's hilarious that Luffy's grown up so much that he's actually getting married. He's also going to be insanely proud of him for being this ridiculously strong and powerful guy while still being himself. So yeah, Shanks obviously pulling up to the wedding with the entire red-haired pirates crew. And yup, they'll be drinking and celebrating all night. Talking about Shanks, I just had to mention Mihawk as well. Because even though he doesn't care at all about Luffy getting married to Hancock, this guy will literally pull up to the wedding just to have a few drinks and aura farm. Alright, let's go back to the Straw Hats because up next, we've got Chopper. This little guy is instantly going to go into his embarrassed cute mode, doing his little dance while blushing like crazy, thinking it's super romantic and being so happy that Luffy's happy. Then when Chopper actually meets Hancock, she's obviously going to think he's adorable and be super sweet to him, which would make Chopper even happier. And boom, instant approval of this marriage. But yeah, Chopper's also going to freak out. Why? Because he's going to convince himself that he has to be the official doctor at the wedding, and everyone's going to be counting on him. Still, he's gonna man up and take on the responsibility, being ready with his doctor gear at any time. Continuing with the Straw Hats, we've got Brook. And Brook, just like Sanji, is going to be so jealous. He's gonna blush like crazy as he thinks Hancock is insanely beautiful. Still, he's happy for Luffy, and he truly admires his captain for being such a powerful guy that he's able to land someone like Hancock. However, and you all knew this was coming, Brook is obviously gonna ask Hancock to see her panties. But yeah, he's gonna get a kick to the face. The last Straw Hat we need to talk about is, of course, Franky. And Franky's just gonna be hyped. Yeah, he's super happy for his captain, and he'll 100% back Luffy's decision no matter what, even if he's a little confused on why Hancock of all people would want to marry this guy. Still, Franky's just gonna be proud to stand by his captain's side as he's got nothing but pure respect, admiration, and love for his captain. Moving on, let's talk about Nefertari Vivi. You already know Vivi's gonna say, only you, Luffy, could marry the most feared and most beautiful pirate woman. But yeah, she's gonna be over the moon for Luffy, and she's obviously gonna show up to the wedding. And knowing Vivi, she's literally gonna turn it into a national holiday in Alabasta, throwing a massive party for everyone to celebrate Luffy and Hancock's big day. Now, we've gotta talk about Silver's Rayleigh. Rayleigh literally sees Luffy as his pupil and even compared him to his old captain, Roger, and said that Luffy is worthy of wearing the Straw Hat. That's some insanely high praise, right? So Rayleigh is already incredibly proud of Luffy, and he's so happy for him. And he'd be truly happy for Hancock too, since he knows all about the lovesickness that every Amazon Lily Empress goes through. Plus, he'd totally relate, as Rayleigh married Shaki, who was once the Empress of Amazon Lily herself. So yeah, you can bet Rayleigh and Shaki would be front row at that wedding. Talking about Amazon Lily, we gotta mention Marguerite as well. Yeah, Marguerite and Luffy are actually very close friends, and she's of course a Kuja, so she obviously loves her Empress Hancock. So yeah, she's gonna be so happy for both of them. Plus, Luffy's probably gonna spend more time on Amazon Lily now, which means she's gonna be hyped to keep having those fun and wild parties. Next up, we also gotta talk about Trafalgar Law. When Law hears that Luffy's marrying Hancock, he's gonna be so confused. He's literally gonna think he should have operated on his brain when he had the chance, because Law already thinks Luffy goes into the most wild and reckless situations ever, so now that he's going to marry the Pirate Empress, he's just gonna think it's typical Luffy. He also probably feels sorry for Hancock, as Law thinks Luffy is super annoying and couldn't think of anything worse than being married to this guy. Still though, Law actually cares about Luffy and sees him as a close friend, so in the end, he'd show up at the wedding and support him. Now, last but definitely not least, we gotta talk about the bride herself, Boa Hancock. If Luffy ever actually asks her to marry him, Hancock is going to be the happiest woman in the entire world. Yeah, she's absolutely gonna faint when Luffy asks her to marry him, and she's probably not gonna wake up for about a week. I mean, Hancock is so deeply in love with Luffy that this is gonna be the happiest day of her life. And let me tell you, if anyone objects to their wedding, she's going to crush them. But yeah, Luffy will not only get a beautiful wife who loves him, he will also get mountains of meat, as she'll happily cook for him every single day. Who would be Luffy's best man at the wedding? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and watch this video next.